Ebe! So you're playing Sparking Zero, huh? Wait a second, are you using a Switch controller? Huh? What do you want me to do? I have no other controller. Okay, well can I play? Hold on, I'm trying to figure out a counter to Broly. That's no fair, I bet I can learn the counterplay. Did you just mess up your words? No. It happens to the best of us. Now can I just get a turn already? You fumbled your words twice. Nobody messes up twice and is okay with it. Look, you're all frozen now. Why don't you just sit down in your typical place and I'll just talk about the game, okay? I fumbled twice. Please stop talking, you're only gonna hurt yourself more.
The long-awaited Dragon Ball game is finally out. After 17 years, the next game in the Budokai Tenkaichi series is finally here. The lead up to the game was a great one and I've been covering it on multiple occasions. Let's just say, whoever was excited for this game was absolutely excited. Multiple trailers have come out to hype the game and I'm going to be honest, I was hoping what we saw in the trailers wasn't everything the game had to offer, but I'll soon get to that. Dragon Ball Sparking Zero had an early access release date of October 8th for anyone who pre-ordered the special versions of the game, and the full release date for everyone else was on October 11th. The game was in development for 5 years according to the producer, so they were definitely cooking up something. And I will say this was definitely worth all that time because now we've got a great, with an asterisk, game.
Yep, I remember those days. Yo, didn't I say stop talking? Look at you now, all sad and whatnot. Anyways, I'm gonna talk about the gameplay now.
Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi returns. And with that, almost everything returns with it. The gameplay is exactly as you would remember if you've played the originals back in the day. It plays mostly like Budokai Tenkaichi 3, but with some new mechanics. I'm not going to bore you with all the mechanics, so I'm just going to simplify them real quick. The goal is to deplete your opponent's health, or if you're playing with time, at least have more health than the opponent. There's a button for punching and ki blasts. If you punch, you can deal some sort of combos. There are so many strings you can go for in this game, so I'll not go over them. But it works the same as Tenkaichi 3. So long as you know how that game works, you'll be fine. Then you've got the dash button. Dashing works differently compared to the other games. You do a short dash which consumes ki. I'll be honest, this change sucks because the maps in this game are huge, and sometimes your opponent is so far away that getting to them feels like a hassle. There are ways to get to your opponent faster than dashing, but they'll all need ki. Speaking of ki, that also works exactly the same. There are two states to your ki bar, the normal state and the sparking mode. Sparking mode allows you to pretty much use unlimited ki for a limited time. I know, I'm contradicting myself. But that means you can dash as long as you want, shoot as many ki blasts, do the vanish battles forever, etc. However, you cannot use your supers unlimitedly. Supers will always require ki, and you've got the 3 types of supers like the old games. The 2 normal supers and the ultimate super. The inputs vary depending on the control schemes you use, so I won't try to explain those. Skills also return in this game where they would assist with either buffing you or nerfing the opponent. For the most part, they all work like the old games, except any one of them that gives ki sickness. That for whatever reason does not return in this game, which is very weird. Also, after image strike has to be the most obnoxious move in the game. This time, it does it automatically instead of the player having to press the block button. Clashes return, but are somewhat changed. They don't work exactly like the old games, and there's some new ones added, but at the very least, key clashes make a return. This time, you don't have to spin the sticks, but try to get as much of the meter as you can. But that's pretty much it for the returning mechanics. The new mechanics are mainly the defensive options, or what this game calls it, the skill count. You can super perception charged moves as long as you have 1 skill count. Bounce away super if you have 2 skill counts, revenge counter any move after getting hit if you have 2 skill counts, and counter that counter if you have 2. I won't say this game plays better than the last game. In fact, I'll say I prefer the older game. But with some tweaks, this game can be really fun, but you probably will just see everyone use perception if their attacks didn't land. That was a lot to go through, I know, but hang in there. I still have a little more to say about the gameplay before I move on. This game brought back some of the gimmicks from the old games. Transformations are back, and if I'm being honest, if you're playing on Classic, change the way you switch out of the characters for team battles. The taunt menu keeps making it impossible to switch. Oh yeah, there's a taunt option, but you'll rarely ever use it since you're too busy trying to survive. If only there were more opportunities to taunt. Anyways, the transformations and fusions look great in this game, but I'll be honest, some of them are pretty meh. Next, giants make a return to this game, and they look bigger than ever before. They can range from they absolutely suck to just outright annoying. No matter what, I don't hate giants, but their dash thing is pretty lame. Also, if you're playing as a giant, this has to be one of the worst cameras ever. Finally, I just want to touch on the fact that the special traits characters had are back. And just like the old games, characters who can't canonically fly don't fly but float. Mr. Satan is still the weakest character dealing no knockback when using his regular attacks. By the way, he's so bad in this game, which makes me a little sad because he was pretty fun in the older games. Giants have their super armor that any character stronger than Super Saiyan 3 can ignore, Broly being broken, androids and artificial life forms can't charge, and whatever else I forgot to mention. That was enough to make me realize that this is indeed Budokai Tenkaichi. Well, not really.
Writing on a whiteboard, eh? Not bad. But no, you still can't stop stuttering.
Moving on to the modes, I'm quite mixed by this. 1. I love the main menu, but I miss the characters explaining the modes when you hover on them. 2. The content in this game feels a bit, how do I put this, lacking. I know I was glazing it up in the past and saying, this game will live on forever, but that's before I knew what all the modes in the game were going to be. Don't get me wrong, the modes included aren't bad, but when comparing it to the older games, it feels a bit on the weak side. Bear in mind, this is technically the next installment to the series, so of course you can compare it to the old games. The old Tenkaichi games would have a plethora of single player content with its fair share of multiplayer, but it's clear that this game only focused on the online. Anyways, it's true that the lack of modes feel a bit lackluster, but does that mean these modes aren't enough? Well, let's look at them in more detail. Episode Battle is first. This is the story mode of the game. You get to play a handful of characters as stories. The stories you go through are Goku, Vegeta, Gohan, Piccolo, Future Trunks, Frieza, Goku Black, and Jiren. I won't lie, this presentation is a bit strange, but bear with me here. So you choose the character's story that you want to play through and it works in a map structure. Basically, you choose the level you want to play from a map, kind of like the new Super Mario Bros. Series. You can play the story mode normally, where you will pretty much relive the entire Dragon Ball Z and Super stories. However, for some of the missions, you have branches that can lead you to either a what if ending or an entire what if story. The ways you would get this would vary, but it pretty much boils down to you having to do a certain requirement to get the chance to see them. Now the story mode has its moments where it actually goes crazy. There were times I actually jumped out of my seat on how hype the moments are. The cutscenes are pretty neat, but to be honest, I don't know if they're anything out of this world. Also, don't expect to see major moments in this game, so you're pretty much doing a SparkNotes version of the story mode. I really thought they were going to do a Goku turning Super Saiyan against Frieza, but that didn't happen. We did get a what if story where Goku goes Super Saiyan in the Saiyan Saga, which is pretty cool, but seriously, some of these what ifs are actually really crazy. Imagine instead of Goku Black, we get Gohan Black. This is an actual thing in the game with a full model, new voice lines, a pseudo Gohan Rose transformation, and even a few Zamasu transformation with Goku Black. His hair changes. This isn't the worst story mode a Dragon Ball game has, and I'd even say it's worth playing just for the chance to experience these what ifs yourself. Albeit, not all of them are crazy, but there's still pretty cool stories that are cool to see in an official Dragon Ball game. Next up is a very unique mode. This is Custom Battle, a mode where you can create or play an original story. When they first revealed this mode, I was pretty excited. Having a Mario Maker-like mode in a Dragon Ball game sounds surreal. It's a great concept and is something that works great with the Sparking series. However, although I like this concept, I'm a bit disappointed by it. Now, this isn't to say that this is a bad mode or anything, far from it actually, but for a mode with unlimited potential, it feels pretty limited. I don't really make custom battles or anything, but from the ones I've played, they pretty much follow the same recipe. Have an intro, fight a character who would pretty much heal a bunch of times or some gimmick, and then finish the battle. I don't know if I find this mode fun or not. The text options are pretty limiting, which is a shame. I feel like if you can create your own text, the stories in this mode would feel a lot more interesting. The reason you can't is mainly because of localization reasons. If a Japanese player made a story, their text would be in Japanese, and if that's the case, people from other countries who don't speak Japanese won't be engaged in the story. So lackluster as it may be, this is the best choice. The CPUs you fight against aren't really hard either. That's more of a game problem though, because for some reason the CPUs aren't as strong as the older games. And finally, the menu kind of looks ugly in my opinion. I don't want to keep being negative, but this definitely feels like something I would have seen in Raging Blast 2. And just so you know, I hate that game's menus, but this doesn't make this mode bad. I have fun playing some of the stories, and if this mode gets more updates, I may try making my own. It's a great addition in my opinion, and I hope it continues to get the support it deserves. I look forward to the future of this mode. Now we finally make it to the main mode of the game, the battle mode. You've got two options, online or offline. I'll start with offline since it has more variety. You'll have the ability to play with a CPU, play local multiplayer, or watch two CPUs fight. Believe it or not, the split screen wasn't even going to be a feature in this game, but the team worked hard to make something work. That alone gives me high hopes for the future of this game, but that's besides the point. In offline, you've got a couple of things to keep in mind. First, you'll have the option to choose the map, song, and rules. The World Tournament stage has a toggle for ring outs, so if you want to play the stage without them, you're free to do so. Some stages have different times of day you can choose for them, so although the stages feel a bit lacking, at least you get that ability. But really, there's no point for the nighttime stages since there are no normal great apes that need the moon to transform. But it's still cool that the option's there. After you choose the stage, you can then choose your character. This is probably my least favorite character select in any Dragon Ball game, at least after Battle of Z's. They decided to abandon the style they had in the older games, which is fine since they did do something cool with the characters standing there and whatnot. However, the presentation could have been way better than this. Also, the portraits aren't renders even though this game has a render for every character. I really have no clue what was going on in the planning stage for this part of the game, but I don't think this is the best they could have done. Picking the opponent is annoying. I remember when I played the demo of this game, I had no idea that you have to press the triggers to switch the side you choose the character for. It was in Japanese, so I didn't try to read it, even though I could. Whatever the case, after you choose the character, you can then finally start the battle with this neat transition that takes you right to the match. I'm glad we're in this generation of consoles. These types of features in modern games are so cool to me, even though at this point they aren't anything special. You know the rest at this point, you just fight and finish a match. Next is online. There are the player matches where you join a lobby and play people, ranked which needs no explanation, and rankings to see the ranking of players and the most used characters. In ranked, you have two options for this mode, DP battles or single battles. If you don't know what DP battles are, you build a team of characters with something called DP points, and you're limited to 15 points. So you'd have to choose your best characters wisely. Team battles are in the game just so you know, but they're only available in offline and player matches. For super training, you've got two options. Battle training is a good place to learn the mechanics of the game because there's a lot, but for some reason some of them just aren't there. Normal training is, well, training. nothing special, and if I'm being honest, this training mode kind of sucks. It feels really messy, the options feel very limited, and it doesn't feel like it can improve with this mode very effectively. Moving on to the World Tournament. You can play this mode online or offline, which is pretty cool. I will mainly be focusing on offline. You have a couple of options to choose: creating your own rules for a tournament, the normal world tournament, sell games, other world tournament, tournament of destroyers, tournament of power, and the Yamcha games. This time, you can actually play the world tournament with a team. If you're playing the world tournament stage or the tournament of power stage with ring outs while on team battles, it changes to the next character. That's a feature that didn't exist in the old games. Anyways, the world tournament works like the old games. Play in a tournament, win by ring outs or depletion of health, and move on to the next match. The board doesn't look as big as the old game, so it feels a bit underwhelming. When you beat it, you would get some Zenny. By the way, if you beat every one of these tournament modes offline, you unlock a character. Cell games works like the old games as well. You play in the Cell games arena, and every next round, you only heal 20% of your health. So it's a survival mode pretty much. The other world tournament was in Budokai Tenkaichi 3, and it's a mode that pretty much makes you fight in a tournament board where instead of playing a specific map, you're given a random map. This time around, the map you start with will be the same map every round. That kind of sucks. Tournament of Destroyers is a new one for this game, and it's pretty much the other world tournament with the ability to choose a team of characters. You can't swap the characters in the middle of the match though, so you'd have to choose the order carefully. It does suck that the Tournament of Destroyers map isn't in the game. I was really hoping they would add it. The next option is the Tournament of Power, and it's another new option added in this game. You only fight in the Tournament of Power map, and flying is turned off, which is pretty cool. I predicted a feature like that to come in the game, and I'm pretty happy that it's in. This one's also a team battle, and the ability to ring out is turned on. This is what I'd say is the better map for ring outs, because what they did to the World Tournament map really sucks. And for the final option, Yamcha Games is another mode from Budokai Tenkaichi 3. This one makes you fight as a random character you have no control of choosing. It's single battles and you'd fight in a random stage. And that's pretty much the World Tournament mode. There's a common theme with this game in getting rid of the charm the past games had. I mean, the menus and screens kind of speak for themselves. Next up is challenges and missions. This tab just has two options: Zeno's Orders and Whis' Stamp Book. These two modes are pretty much modes where you just have to play the game in order to unlock some sort of reward. Zeno's Orders would typically reward you with new customizations, Zenny, and even characters you can unlock. Whis' Stamp Book would reward you with Dragon Balls and Zenny. Not really a noteworthy mode. Next is Shop and Customization. This is where you have the ability to buy some items, new songs, and even characters. If you want to unlock all characters fast, this is the place for you. Customization is pretty much the place where you can put capsules to buff characters. There are actually a lot of things you can customize characters with that aren't just capsules. You can give characters different outfits, if they even have different outfits to choose from. Give them emotes, which is actually pretty cool. Enable or disable their ability to fuse, which would probably be mainly for the CPU options. Change the song that plays when you enter sparking, which is also pretty cool. And only for the CPUs, you can change the behavior they would have. Some characters have outfits that change the movesets they have, but currently there are only two characters that have this option: Goku Super with his power pole, and Android 18 for the Chain Destructor disc special she had in the previous games. It is really a shame that there aren't many outfits, because I can at least think of one for every character. I hope they add some in the future. You also have the ability to change your player card for online. I guess that's pretty neat. We now move on to the gallery. This is a pretty nice mode, and it's cool to see return. Encyclopedia is the first mode, and this is pretty much just a place where you can learn about the characters in this game. You can listen to the commentary Chi-Chi, Bulma, and Videl have about the character, which is always fun. You also have the ability to see the base stats of characters here and look at the emotes they can have. My Data is a mode that shows you your data in the game. If you're interested in your stats of the game, this is the place to check it out. Theater is a place to watch your replays, look at the pre-rendered stuff this game has like the opening, and listen to the music. A jukebox? Yep, this is the best mode in the game. And the final tab in this game is Come Forth. This is where you summon the dragons once you collect all the Dragon Balls. You have 3 you can possibly summon: Shenron, Purunga, and Super Shenron. All 3 sets of Dragon Balls are collected differently. Shenrons are found in the mission mode, but you can get them from playing offline battles. You can wish for pretty basic stuff like wishing for more Zenny, or even skipping an entire episode battle. I don't know why you would want to do that, but I guess it's for the people who don't really want to play the story mode and unlock stuff from it maybe. Purungas are found only from the offline battles. You can get 3 wishes from Purunga, but they all are the same wishes as Shenron without the episode battle one. I guess it's better to get the customization options from this one. And finally, Super Shenron's Dragon Balls are unlocked by playing the episode battles, specifically Goku's and Future Trunks's. After beating it, you get all the Dragon Balls at once. Super Shenron is the only one you can get characters from, so make sure you get them because I don't think you can get him after the 2 sets have been used. And that does it for all the modes in this game. A lot to take in, I know. The music in this game is unexpectedly good. I wasn't really putting high hopes for it or anything going off the trailers, but once the game came out, I found a lot of music I like. This game actually has so many songs. It's the most in the Budokai Tenkaichi series, which I honestly didn't expect to be the case. There's a wide range of types of songs in this game. There are some that have that epic feel I'm not too fond of, the rock types of songs you would see in many Dragon Ball media, and some music that actually remind me of the older games somehow. I have a couple of songs I like, but my favorite may be Let the Battles Begin. When I play online, the one thing that annoys me the most is the fact that people just either don't choose the music or choose the second opening from Dragon Ball Super. It gets really annoying hearing the default song in the opening so many times. You have the option to turn off anime music, which I did, but for some reason, that doesn't include the Tournament of Power song. I hope they change that someday. If I had to put this on the Dragon Ball game music tier list I made a while back, I'm putting it in A tier. I'm also going to put Budokai Tenkaichi 2's music over Tenkaichi 3 because I started to prefer it more than it. This game wouldn't be a Budokai Tenkaichi game without its details and secrets. First, you have to unlock about a quarter of the cast. The base roster is already a lot, but all the movie characters, GT characters, some of the Z characters and Super characters are locked. There are 2 methods to unlocking them: by completing some sort of requirement by playing the game, or just buying them in the store. I chose to take the long way by playing the game. It gives me a reason to play the content of the game, which makes the experience a bit more fun. Now that that's out of the way, let me talk about the maps of this game. This is either the best Dragon Ball game to do maps, or the most underwhelming one. The stage destruction is great and all, but there's no way to transition to a destroyed world map if a super hits the ground or something. There are only 2 stages that have some sort of transition, and that's Planet Namek and the World Tournament map. The crazy part is I can think of 3 more maps that can have destroyed variants. In the story mode, there are some exclusive maps that you will only ever get the chance to play there. Some of these include the non-destroyed Tournament of Power map, which is criminal that you can't choose to play on this normally, the Universe 10 Supreme Kailand, which is just a recolor of the normal one, and the Destroyed Cell Games Arena, which again, is crazy that you can't choose to play at any time. Now, why couldn't there be an option where if you destroy the normal city map, you can get the destroyed city map? And while I'm at it, why can't the non-destroyed Tournament of Power map be chosen, and if you do an ultimate, it becomes the destroyed version? The same goes for the Cell Games Arena. Why didn't they make that a possibility for that too? Moving aside from that, I'm underwhelmed by the lack of stages in this game. How was there no Kami's Lookout? That's my favorite stage and would have chosen it every time if it were in. In terms of details or the presentation of the stages, I think this game is lacking in that department. The island stage, or actually any stage with water in that matter, really sucks because you actually can't see through the water, which is something you can do in the old games. That's probably why there is no Kame House stage, because that stage would suck with the way the water works in this game. The Easter eggs in the background are also missing. I couldn't find the Master Sword in the Supreme Kai stage. I didn't see the Saiyan Pod in the Rocky Lands. There was no sign of the news reporters in the Cell Games Arena, and the list goes on. This game really had the opportunity to do all that, that. But that is sadly never going to get added in this game. I've said it multiple times, but what they did with the World Tournament stage really sucks. It's super small. There's no invisible barrier that keeps you from automatically falling to the ring out like the older games, and it was clearly not built for ring outs. The more I talk about the stages, the more disappointed I feel towards this game. I really hope with the ability of updates, we can get some sort of fixes, new stages added, or something to make the game just a bit better. Now there are some details that exist from the old games. Stuff like Master Roshi can't get solar flared if he's wearing his sunglasses, the special quotes which are just phenomenal in this game, and some power level stuff that gives some characters advantages over others. This game actually does some pretty cool things too though. There are actually some special win screens with 3 characters: Super Saiyan Goku Mid, Super Saiyan 3 Goku End, and Master Roshi. You get them if you defeat the opponent using your ultimate. I hope they add more of these in future updates, but I wouldn't count on it. There are also some special throws that you can only get if you're playing a character that has one and the opponent is a specific character. They're pretty cool looking and actually deal more damage, but that's really about it. This game is a great game. I'd recommend this if you're a Dragon Ball fan who wants to play something casual, but for the long term, I hope they add some updates that make the game a lot better than it is now, because all I'm going to say is for some reason, this game feels somewhat incomplete, but that's a video for another day.
Don't get me wrong, this game is gorgeous when it needs to be. There's a lot of content to keep people busy, and the existence of this game makes it so that the future of Dragon Ball games is a very bright one. I like this game a lot, but for the time being, I'll just be watching its future to see whether I should expect more or not. I get that. I'm actually excited for the future of the game because it looks like the developers actually want to listen to feedback. That is true. A game where the developers are asking for feedback can mean one of two things. Either they want to continue to add to this game, or they plan to make a new game. I don't mind either, but for the time being, I'd rather them not make a new game so soon. Yeah, anyways, can I play now? No, you're still fumbling your words. You're talking normally. Yeah, so that means I could play now. No, it doesn't. Uh-oh, someone looks like they need to take a break. Hey, I have an idea. Why don't you switch spots with me? It looks like you can use the break.